Mercedes-Benz was the first luxury car manufacturer to enter India. It's had a head start over its rivals for over 10 years. Others have caught up, but right now Mercedes is probably in its most aggressive phase in the Indian market. And leading Mercedes, we have with us Eberhard Kern, Managing Director and CEO of Mercedes India. Thanks for joining us, Mr. Kern.
It's great that we have a chance to meet again, Hormazd. So welcome to Mercedes-Benz here in Chakan in Pune.
Thank you.
After the year of offensive in the last year, we are now in our so-called year of excellence and clapping 32% growth last year, 25% in the first half of that year.
So great, let's go for a drive in the M-Class over here and let's hear about your plans for the future.
Okay, with pleasure.
When Mercedes-Benz set up shop in India 2 decades ago, it became a symbol of the affluent Indian. But today, it's fighting hard to compete with other luxury brands that have entered the Indian market. To make matters worse, the Indian economy and the auto sector in particular have been through a rough patch. So when I went for a drive with Eberhard Kern, the Managing Director and CEO of Mercedes-Benz India, I began by asking him if the niche luxury car market too felt the pinch of the slowdown.
The market itself was quite tough over the last 2-3 years. Luxury did a bit better, so there was still growth until last year. This year actually I'm not really able to say because many of the luxury manufacturers do not publish any numbers. What I can say is that the Mercedes-Benz business is doing very well. After huge growth last year, more than 30%, now another 25% growth in the first half of this year. The initiatives we took to put more cars into our portfolio, this helps a lot in the Indian market. For the luxury market, today only 1.5% of all cars registered in India are luxury cars. So that's a very low share if you compare it internationally to other markets. We believe there is still a lot of potential to grow. What is needed is a number of measures what were announced and introduced by the government during last budget, especially if it comes to taxes and duties, their harmonization and as well a kind of realistic level of taxes would help the luxury car market, of course. India today is one of the markets in the world with the highest taxes our customers here in India have to pay.
Right, so on the issue of taxes, in fact, you've had a bit of a double whammy because the taxes have gone up, especially on CBUs, and you've had the rupee which has become weaker, so really a lot of cost pressures over there. I just want to understand, how do companies like y'all, where y'all are so reliant on a lot of imported content, where are the typical areas y'all can cut costs, given the fact that there's a limit to how much y'all can localize?
Actually, we regularly look in all parts of our business. So what we did the last 2 years is to harmonize quite a bit. We automized our business even further. We have now a number of new and modern IT systems in place what support a kind of a lean business what we do there. We try to involve our dealers into all that processes. Finally, Hormazd, you are of course right. The exchange rate effects what we saw and the rises in the input costs anyway,
can't control that.
They were not completely to compensate via such measures. So a part of it we had to pass over to our customers via some price hikes, but this we do very careful. Finally, it's all about the sustainable and profitable business over the long run.
I've noticed when you launch some of your models, especially the higher end models, whether it's the S-Class or the ML or even the GL, you bring them in as CBUs and then you localize them. Wouldn't it be more cost effective to make them CKD from job one or the first car itself?
It is more cost effective, yes. On the other hand, the CBU route offers you two options what CKD in the beginning is not able to do. First of all, you are much closer to international launch dates. We are earlier to market. And this is well received. That's one reason. The second reason, when we go for CBU, we usually equip those cars higher. So this is a kind of very high-end equipment what we offer to the market, and many of our customers wait exactly for this kind of product what we introduce in the beginning. It comes at its price, yes, no question, but it's all about value for money, and our customers they really like this approach. So we have very good experience with having first a CPU car in and switching later to the locally manufactured one. This might be as well a concept for the future.
So this is a strategy you're quite happy with? It works for you?
Yeah, as the demand rises after a market launch, of course CKD, the local manufacturing route, helps to come to the volumes you finally need.
The last time we met, you had announced a big investment on the expansion of the plant. Obviously that investment is now in place. Just want to understand how far into the expansion have you gone? Is it very phased? I think you put up a all new paint shop right now. And what's let's say the progress on the plant side?
Yeah, expansion into the production facilities is in a very final stage. We are done in a few weeks of time, so in 2014 we are quite confident to finish this expansion. What makes us future ready? We will have a capacity available both in paint shop and in production of 20,000 units a year.
And any particular eco-friendly methods or technologies you've got in the plant and the workplace?
All our manufacturing system, of course, is based on highest standards of environmental friendly operations. One example, we set up a rooftop solar plant what produces 150 of these units of power every year. So, this is one of the core values of Mercedes-Benz.
So let's talk about some of your new products that are coming out right now. You're about to launch the GLA, which is a crossover. But the sense I get is that you really needed this car fast because there's been a big gap below the M-Class or the ML. So do you think the GLA is very strategic in this regard, that it is going to give an entry-level SUV? Or is it really more of a crossover?
You are right, Hormazd. There is a big gap below the ML, and we are very much looking forward to the next SUV from Mercedes-Benz, to the GLA. What is around the corner. In a few weeks' time we will have this car in India. The GLA closes a big gap and addresses quite a very big segment in the market, and a growing segment in the market. It's a real SUV, to answer your question. Give you one example, the suspension, the height of the car, we adjusted by another 30 millimeters. Now it comes
183 or something.
It comes with ground clearance of 183 millimeters. And if you see the look and feel and the technical specification of the car, we are very, very happy to have now another SUV in our portfolio.
Mercedes is certainly playing it smart in India. But what are the challenges operating in a market like this? More on that when we return. Mercedes-Benz is one of the big three luxury car makers in the world. But in India, a crucial part of its strategy is pandering to local tastes and tweaking its models to suit the demand in this market. So how is it going about doing just this?
First of all, we try to develop Indian suppliers for global demand. You are absolutely right, the Indian volumes today are too small just to develop a supplier only for Indian volumes. That's the reason why we go for development of global suppliers, so out of India, supplied to Mercedes-Benz worldwide.
How many would there be?
We add regularly new suppliers. I do not have a concrete figure now with me, but it's a growing number of suppliers. It could be even international suppliers which have a production facility or research and development hub here in India. Secondly, what you described with Indianization, yes, this happens. give you an example. On A and B class, after we got the first feedback that the ground clearance is not enough, it was as well your feedback, Hormazd.
Yeah,
I think you were the first one mentioning that. We collected our research and development guys and figured out what kind of solution we can offer.
And raise the ground clearance.
And raise the ground clearance. This happened in the meanwhile, and the feedback from our customers is quite good.
So this is an Indian developed solution, is that right?
Yes, that's right.
There's one market trend that we've seen is that you have removed the larger engine options in a lot of your range, whether it's the E-Class or C-Class. Why is this happening? Is it because the costs have just gone up and there's really no demand for, let's say, the V6 engines in these cars? Yeah?
There's a global trend
of downsizing.
To downsize engines. So this trend arrived as well in India, and many of our customers, if you talk about C and E-Class, are quite happy with C200 or C220 CDI, or in the E-Class E200 and E250 CDI. Those engines do really fit many of our customers' wishes if it comes to drivability, power, but as well economy. But you are right, a segment in the market is the more powerful engines, what we use in our sedans, and looking at the E-Class, we took it up, and today I can confirm in not so far future you will see a 6-cylinder diesel again in the E-Class.
That's great. Do you also feel that, you know, the way prices have gone up, actually it's come even as a shock to the system, even of affluent people who can afford your products? Do you think it's with a stable rupee, stable taxation, stable policies, and eventually stable pricing, do you think customers will finally get used to these prices, and you know, there won't be that much resistance to the sudden spike in prices we've seen?
I agree with you. Due to currency developments and high taxes, luxury cars went more expensive in India. This is true. Our customers, fortunately, realize still the high value in a Mercedes-Benz, and I'm as well with you when you say hopefully there is a kind of stability in future. This is what we are looking for as well. If we now come to more reasonable and less complex tax structures, then I see a big and prosperous future for the luxury car business in India.
But you know, given the fact that luxury cars and a lot of your range has moved up, has this given an opportunity for your really compact cars like the A-Class and the B-Class and the new generation compact car platform, NGCC?
Yeah.
So has this in fact opened up an opportunity? Because you know, a lot of people want to aspire to have a Mercedes, and with the other cars having got progressively expensive over the years, do you think now here you've got a real big opportunity with these cars? And second question after that is, how are really these this range doing right now?
Yeah, besides the sedans and the SUV, today the new generation cars, how we call it, are the third big pillar in the product portfolio of Mercedes-Benz. A and B class came as a pioneer to India. That were the first luxury hatchbacks or compact cars in India. And we are very, very happy with the response in the Indian market. CLA and GLA are getting added to our new generation car portfolio. Both of them, being a SUV and a sedan, have even the bigger market chances. So we think that the new generation cars getting even more important if we look into the future, and I think
that's going to be your biggest growth, I think, isn't it? Because of the sheer affordability and the number of models.
Yeah, and it's a lower base, of course, where it comes from. Today it's still sedans what we sell the most, and SUV is number 2. Compact cars is number 3. We believe that compact cars in the midterm could make up to 40% of our sales.
And that would be your number 1 segment in time?
Yeah, we will see how the other 2 segments develop. But the good thing is that we have three very strong pillars in our product portfolio.
And moving to the opposite end of the spectrum, obviously it's not a big pillar, but it's again a very halo brand, and that's the AMG brand. You really invested a lot in that. Can you give a sense of what's really the market size for this, and who are the customers buying it? Because what I would imagine, it just must be very low single-digit percentage of your total sales.
Yeah, of course. It is the performance segment of the market.
And the expensive segment of the market.
And the expensive segment of the market. But the numbers are quite impressive already. We concentrated on a strategy in this performance segment of the market to introduce more models out of the AMG portfolio. And the AMG is the performance brand of Mercedes-Benz. And we took it from sedan and the pure sports cars to the next level. We introduced the SUVs as a performance car. And after the G63 AMG, now with the ML63 AMG and the GL63 AMG, it is already quite an interesting option what we give to our customers if it comes to performance SUV. The youngest model we added here is the CLA 45 AMG, just a few weeks back, and got some very nice feedback from the market, and the initial allocation of CLA 45 AMG is gone. Yeah, we sold it in a few days time, so there is a market, and we are further looking into the high performance cars. We opened, as you might know, 3 AMG performance centers, one in Delhi, one in Mumbai, one in Bangalore. All this helps to
develop the brand,
further develop AMG, Mercedes AMG, as the performance brand in the Indian market. We do not have any figures from competitors, but I believe that AMG today is already the most recognized performance brand in India.
Mercedes-Benz is making some big bets in the Indian market. But has it also lost some opportunities? Find out when we return.
Let's talk about the C-Class now, because that's been another big pillar for you in terms of the category. We've just heard the news that you've sold 120 C-Classes to Cars on Rent. Congratulations for that, to sell a model that's in its run-out phase. But clearly, I think this will leave you with quite a big gap before the new model comes out. So I would say, is it bad planning in a way? Because you are going to have a vacuum for a couple of months, which probably your competitors will fill.
Fortunately, it's not like this. We are very happy about this deal with Cars on Rent. Actually, it's the biggest fleet deal Mercedes-Benz India ever was able to close in India. This was a planned deal. This is a kind of on-top business. We have sufficient volumes available of the outgoing C-Class, so no problems there if it comes to availability. The run-out is completely on track.
And coming to the new C-Class 2015 launch, obviously that's going to be a big game changer for you. So is that really a big one for you?
Yeah, besides the E-Class, C-Class is the most important model in our portfolio as well, from a volume perspective. The new C-Class takes this car to the next level. And here we are very happy that our developers give us such a product at hand, and we are very confident that in 2015 the new C-Class will play a major role in our upcoming launches.
You know, you talked about not being in the number games and doing it all for profitability. Clearly, dealer profitability is a big issue in India.
Yeah.
The cost of operations are very high, the returns are not so good. So on that front, on keeping your dealers profitable, on keeping the retail business healthy, is this an issue, and really what are you doing for it? Or is it finally you have to give volumes in terms of service as well as sales to really get dealers profitable?
We do not have to get our dealers profitable. Mercedes-Benz dealers in India are profitable. And I mentioned already, it's now 64 dealerships in 36 cities. The net is profitable. One dealer more, the other dealer a bit less. So it depends on individual performance. But it helps, of course, that we write a growth story. These growing numbers last year, this year, they as well contribute to the profitability of our dealers.
And you know, on the retail side, you know, you've talked about a lot many more models, a lot more growth. Your plant here is, let's say, set up to do 20,000 units a year. Matching that, is there going to be a big expansion in the dealer network as well, or are you going to be a little more prudent in that so the existing dealers get more throughput and volume?
We have to be close to our customers. And that's why we are further developing the network into Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities. So you will see an expansion in the network, but you will see on the other hand higher numbers per dealer.
Right.
So this
for their viability.
For viability, and here what I mentioned, the factor that we are growing our business helps a lot. Both is true. Yeah, higher numbers at every single dealership and better revenue and profit chances there, as well as getting more close to our customers all over India.
And I think we are now headed back to your plant. So just winding down, I just want to ask, you know, in terms of India, obviously India is a very small luxury car market, and naturally it would be a very small percentage of total global sales of Mercedes. But where does India fit in?
Yeah, India is not yet one of the top 10 markets of Mercedes-Benz, but it is one of the focus markets where headquarters focus on, as we do of course anyway. We see a big chance if India manages to write a growth story overall in the next few years, that it could be as well one of the top 10 markets of Mercedes-Benz once in a time. When I can't tell you exactly, but we are sure that the best time of India is still ahead.
Mercedes-Benz has high ambitions for India, but as we headed back to the company's Chakan plant, I asked if it's really prepared to take on the kind of growth it's hoping for.
Well, thanks very much of the drive. You know, looking at your facility, it's really quite tremendous what you put up here. But 20,000 units, in the broader scheme of things, that's really still a very tiny percentage of Mercedes' total sales. So you've talked about the luxury car market still being very small, but do you think you would need to move out of this soon enough? Because do you think the market will take off exponentially at any point?
Yeah, the Indian business itself, it's roughly 1% of the global business of Mercedes-Benz at the moment. We are quite happy that we are actually the only luxury car manufacturer who invested this heavily already into the future. So the capacity is there for the next few years. We will see how the market further develops, and as soon as the volumes ask for higher capacities, of course we are ready to do that. Everything is set. Now it's just about further developing the business and especially developing the luxury car market in India.
Well, you know, with Indian customers getting more affluent, people getting more brand conscious, there may be a time when this plant may not be enough. I'm sure that's what Mercedes-Benz is hoping for. But thanks very much, Eberhard, for sharing with us your vision, and wish you all the best and all success.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.